Everyone's social media profile picture is about to awaken into a transcendent power. Some people have Ultraman as theirs. Once they awaken, they'll transform into beings of light, protecting the innocent. Others chose Super Saiyans. They'll possess the power to sweep through the void. Then there are those who love pet photos. They'll be able to summon ferocious, powerful beasts to fight by their sides. But for those using landscapes or wild animals as their icons, those images will manifest as horrific monsters, demonic spirits and evil entities that will plague the world. My name is Lin Mo. In my past life, I didn't take profile pictures seriously at all before the cataclysm hit. Back then, I just wanted to follow a trend and join in on a meme. I absent-mindedly picked a funny gif, a chicken holding a basketball and dancing. But when the crimson moon descended, and everyone else was awakening world-shattering miracles, I turned into a dancing chicken. Aside from some frantic clucking and a few ridiculous dance moves, I had absolutely no way to protect myself. In that post-apocalyptic world where human life was worth nothing, I lived worse than a dog. I only had a brief 2-hour window every day. During the morning when it was safe to go outside, I had to scavenge right under the noses of those monsters, digging through ruins for moldy scraps. Eventually, while I was searching for a piece of bread, I made a mistake. I accidentally bumped into the school bully, Wang Teng, who had awakened a powerful profile. With a casual flick of a spirit wave, he ruthlessly took my life. That agonizing pain of my body being torn apart. It's still etched into the depths of my soul. When I open my eyes again, I find myself back in my dim, cramped rental apartment. The clock on the wall is ticking away. It's February 28th, 8 p.m. There are only 4 hours left. Before the cataclysm that changes the fate of humanity, I bolt upright, gasping for fresh air. As I feel my heart pounding frantically, I know I've been reborn. In this new life, I will never let that absurd tragedy happen again. The minutes are slipping by. As a professional illustrator, I hold the brush that can rewrite destiny this time around. Others are stuck with whatever random images they already have, but I can craft my own. I'm going to create the ultimate, most powerful profile picture for myself. I scramble out of bed, shoving the cups of instant noodles off my desk. I fire up my computer and launch my professional drawing software. Within my mind, countless forbidden mythological beings begin to emerge. Since I'm drawing this, I'm going to create a force greater than this world can even contain. I plan to fuse the absolute peaks of power from Chinese mythology. First, the creator of the heavens, the primordial god who commands the grand chaos, Hongjun. Second, the sovereign of all demons, who cowers the 9 underworlds, Dong Huang. Third, the ancestor of all dragons, the supreme ruler of the 4 seas, Zhu Long. But I still feel like it's missing a touch of ultimate destructive force. So, I decide to add the strongest fused warrior from the world of anime. From Dragon Ball, the ultimate fusion of Kakarot and Vegeta, Vegito. I'm going to stitch these 4 beings, capable of shattering dimensions, into a single profile picture. This is a forbidden feat that no one has ever dared to try. My fingers fly across the drawing tablet. Between the interlacing lines, the silhouette of a man in white robes, radiating divine martial prowess, begins to take shape. Behind him, the faint shadows of 10,000 screaming demons appear. Beneath his feet, he treads upon a massive golden dragon, while his entire body is wreathed in the signature blue-gold aura of a Saiyan. I pour every ounce of my focus into adjusting every detail. Sweat soaks through my shirt, but I don't dare slack off for even a second. Because I know this isn't just a drawing. This is my future, the only leverage I have to survive in this broken world. Time flies, and it's suddenly 11 p.m. Only 1 hour remains before the cataclysm. I let out a long, shaky breath, and click save. I stare at the screen, at the lifelike and overwhelming presence of my new profile picture. A shiver crawls up from the very depths of my soul. This illustration is absolute, original. It is the one and only supreme sequence in this entire world. I quickly transfer the image to my phone. Without wasting a single second, I swap out every profile picture on all my social media apps. Just as I'm taking a sip of water to steady my nerves, my phone gives a sudden buzz. It's a message from a friend I rarely ever talk to. He's asking why, this late at night, I've suddenly changed my profile pic to something so edgy and Chunibyo. I stare at his profile picture, just a mundane, everyday snapshot, and my heart trembles. In my past life, people like him were basically just monster fodder. During the very first wave of the impact, I hesitate for a moment, but I decide to send a reply anyway. If the sky starts changing colors soon, lock your doors and windows if you want to live. Hide in the deepest part of your room. Whatever you do, do not run outside. After hitting send, I close the chat box. I don't bother waiting for his confused response. I stand by the window, looking out at this bustling metropolis known as the premier capital of Long Nation. The neon lights are still glowing bright, but who could guess that in just a few minutes, This place will transform into a living hell. 30 seconds left on the countdown. My mind becomes eerily calm. For someone who has already died once, there is nothing left to fear. March 1st, midnight sharp. A bolt of dark red lightning rips through the pitch-black sky in an instant. Then comes a roar that threatens to shatter my eardrums, sounding like the death knell of the apocalypse echoing from the clouds. In the middle of the blackened sky, a blood moon, sinister beyond belief, rises out of nowhere. Its light is a thick, visceral crimson, like fresh blood, instantly blanketing the entire earth. Countless people are jolted awake from their sleep by the eerie commotion. Instinctively, they reach for their phones, wanting to see what on earth is happening. But the very moment they light up their screens, a blinding, piercing glare erupts from the devices. For those using landscape photos as their profile pictures, it's as if a bloody hole has been ripped into their screens. Hideous, ghastly monsters crawl out from the thick blood mist. They unhinge their massive, gore-stained maws, and before their owners can even react, they are swallowed whole. Wails of agony begin to echo through the entire apartment building. Those using wild beasts as profile pictures have it even worse. The demons in their avatars crawl out with twisted, mocking grins. Like they're just having a light snack, they begin to feast on their owner's flesh and blood. In just a few minutes, the entire world is reduced to ruins. I sit before my computer, feeling a sudden, searing pain in my brain. My vision begins to blur. A terrifying will descends upon my consciousness. I black out completely. When I finally drift back into consciousness, I realize I've arrived in a vast, ethereal space of primordial chaos. There is no gravity here. No direction. Only endless stars swirling in the void. I look up, and I'm rendered speechless by the sight before me. Towering in front of me are 4 colossal statues that seem to prop up the very heavens. Each one radiates a pressure so intense it makes the stars dim. These are the 4 beings I used for my profile pictures. Because I drew them with my own hands, they look more real than any mythological description, more alive. A peerless, overwhelming aura emanates from their bodies. Just as I'm about to buckle under the weight, just as my soul feels like it's about to shatter from the pressure, a warm, massive surge of power suddenly floods into my body from the void. My withered limbs and exhausted veins are instantly revitalized with an incredible surge of life. I realize right then this is my moment of awakening. I walk toward the first statue. It's the fused warrior, Vegito, his muscles rippling, radiating an infinite, burning will to fight. The moment my hand touches the base of the statue, the entire space erupts with the thunderous roar of a Saiyan transformation. A golden light explodes outward like a mountain flash flood. It's flooding into my body. I can feel every single cell undergoing a frantic metamorphosis. It's an absolute sense of power, the kind that could shatter a mountain with a single punch. In an instant, my hair flashes into a brilliant, radiant gold. Blue arcs of electricity crackle and hiss, coiling around my entire body. This explosive surge in combat strength, it makes me want to throw my head back and roar at the heavens. Then, once the inheritance of power is complete, the statue explodes with a thunderous boom, turning into a cloud of golden mist. That merges directly into my soul. I don't stop there. I keep moving toward the next statue, the Red Army warrior, standing tall in robes as white as snow. He isn't as rugged as the legends suggest. Instead, he radiates a sacred authority that commands respect without even trying. I gently press my hand against the statue. Instantly, a vast ancient aura sweeps through my entire being. This is the primordial power that forged the world itself. My bones are tempered until they're as hard as divine iron. In this moment, my physical defense reaches a height beyond imagination. Even if a heavy tank slammed into me full tilt, I suspect it would be the one reduced to scrap metal from the impact. This rush, this thrill of my strength, increasing tenfold or more, it leaves me absolutely intoxicated. Curiously though, the Red Army statue doesn't vanish like the previous one. It remains there, standing silently, as if there's an even deeper layer of power waiting for me to unearth. I take a moment to steady my racing heart, then turn toward the statue of the demon ancestor, Dong Huang. The progenitor of all demons is shrouded in swirling black energy, looking as if he carries an endless abyss upon his back. The very second my fingers brush against the stone, a streak of violet-black light lances into the space between my brows. Deep within the sea of my consciousness, a long spear wrapped in bolts of black lightning silently emerges, the Chaos Spear. A divine weapon from the legends, one capable of even slaying saints. Though I can only tap into a fraction of its true potential right now, it's more than enough to let me sweep through any low-level evil spirits. Having a god-slaying artifact in my hand gives me a sense of security, a confidence that strips away any fear of this apocalypse. Finally, I reach the ancient statue of Zhulong. 2 golden dragons circle the figure, their roars echoing in the air. I take a deep breath and place my hand upon it. A high-pitched dragon's cry explodes through the chaotic space. The phantom of a small dragon dives straight into my chest. I try to channel that power, and suddenly, a pair of majestic golden dragon horns sprout from my forehead. A set of ornate, indestructible golden dragon armor instantly encases my body. In my right hand, a blade manifests, the golden dragon sword, radiating supreme majesty. In this moment, I feel like a true overlord descending upon the mortal realm. With the blessing of these 4 god-tier powers, I've gone from being a common painter to a being with the combat prowess of a god. Just as I prepare to push the limits of this power even further, the chaotic space begins to shudder violently. The light and shadows shatter, rearranging themselves. My consciousness is violently yanked back to reality by a massive force. My eyes snap open. I find myself still sitting in that same old wooden chair. The blood-red moonlight filters through the cracks in the window, casting a glow across my face. That feels eerily supernatural. The television in the room is still on. Due to the signal interference, the screen is washed out with static and snow, but I can still hear the news anchor's voice, trembling with sheer terror. An emergency broadcast is playing. Please, all citizens, lock your doors and windows. Do not open the door for anyone. If you find that your portrait has awakened some kind of special ability, please, while ensuring your own safety, assist the neighbors around you. I glance at the clock on the wall. It's already 2 a.m. Outside, the sounds of those inhuman screams haven't faded at all. If anything, they've become even more shrill and agonizing. I can even hear something heavy, scraping harshly against the concrete walls. I look down at my hands. That mountain-moving, sea-leveling power is still surging within me. I know now that this was no hallucination. In my past life, the name Yi Mo stood for cowardice and death. But in this life, it will become the deepest nightmare. For every demon, ghost, and monster in existence, I walk over to the window and look down at the monsters below, mindlessly devouring everything in the streets. A cold smile curled the corners of my lips. Since the heavens have granted me a second chance at life, I will be the one to rewrite the rules of this apocalypse.
Follow, like, comment, and share for part 2.